everybody, I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome to Board Game Breakfast Live, and we're back. Not that we were gone, well, we were gone a little bit. I did a lot of work last week getting ready for the 2021. There's a lot of stuff going on, but yes, it was Christmas and Christmas Eve, and so last week you saw a lot of stuff from our top 10 lists go up and things like that, and also marble racing. Woohoo! So we're going to be doing marble racing now, not as much. It will just be once a week. First one is tomorrow morning. So if you want to join us with Shoots and Marbles and the silliness and nonsense there, come join us. And if you think that is too silly and nonsensical for you, first of all, we need some silly and nonsensicalness in our life, but you can just skip that video and watch the other 6,000 we put out. This particular episode is sponsored by Pandasaurus, who has done Gods Love Dinosaurs, and also Machikoro Legacy. And we're talking about Machikoro Legacy because we have 3 copies of this to give out. We're sending this out. This is a contest for those in North America, and you can enter this contest by emailing us at contest@dicetower.com. And in the subject line, put the word legacy, just the word legacy here. And then in the body, put your address, but also answer the question, what's the maximum number of dice you roll in Machikoro? How many? All right, so let us know that and your address, and we'll pick some winners. You can find those on our website at dicetower.com/contests. You can see who's won the various contests that we run. So, hey, this is the last live board game breakfast of 2020. This is, I'm doing it live. I'm doing it live by myself right now. Mike Delicio normally runs these, but he is off today. So if there's any mistakes, it's all on me, folks. I'm getting ready. I have a review that I'm really excited about going up tomorrow, and many other reviews going up this week. I got tons of games to talk about. It is exciting. So there's that going on. Well, you know what? Oh, the top 100 of all time. I'm working on that. In fact, my top 100 of all time is finished, with the exception of course, if I play some games over the next few weeks, I might slide them in there if I think that they fit in. But my top 100 of all time is finished, and then we'll be doing that in January, the second half of January. January 12th right now is the launch date for our Kickstarter, so hopefully that you guys will come back and support us there. Alrighty, well, let's get started. We have some contributors, and we got Board Game Breakfast to go to. Here we go.
Board games can definitely be funny. Even if they're a serious game, there's always moments of mirth to be found. What do you think is the most you've laughed at a single board gaming incident?
Well, I was with you actually, and I was playing Midnight Murder Mysteries, which is at the time of filming, it will be on Kickstarter. So it was an investigation game where you can get secret information. You might hide it from your opponents, or you can reveal it. I hide this useless information from Tarrant, and then I pretended to move away or trying to move that witness away, and Tarrant was like, ooh, it must be valuable, and then Tarrant wasted like the whole turn.
It's 4 or 5 actions.
4 or 5 actions, so it's like more than one turn. One turn is like take 3 actions to go chase it and then get it, and then got no information. So I was like, we were laughing for 5 minutes after that.
We were laughing for literally 5 minutes. It was very mean. And I mean,
but you laughed as well. It's not mean.
It was funny. It was a simple bluff, but sometimes that's the simple pleasures, is the simple bluff that works.
Especially because you're so smart, right? And when I managed to trick you, like, ha! It's like that.
Yes, for days after I was able to just say you baited me, and you would laugh again for a minute.
But that was fun. That was fun in game. It's just a game, right? Just share us your experience in the comment sections below. And we are Meeple University on the Dice Tower and on YouTube. See you next time.
Hey, I'm Grant with Grant's Game Rex, and today I want to recommend one of the most replayable games out there, Tiny Towns. In this game, each player is building their own town, which initially worried me because I'm not good at building anything except awkwardness. but thankfully it's a lot of fun. In tiny towns, each player will have their own town board. On a player's turn, they will be calling out a color, and then each player will add that color cube to their town board. Various structures and buildings have different color requirements to them. So for instance, if I yelled out red on my turn, I could add a red cube right there, and now a tavern costs a red, and a blue. I have a red, and a blue, so I can add a tavern to my town. This game really falls into the category of easy to learn, hard to master. There's a lot of choices, and none of the choices are bad, it's just what do you want to commit to? I mean, honestly, the only bad choice in this game is playing it like this. I will place this well wherever I please, for I am your creator. Ha ha ha! I have built this tiny town from scratch, for I am its God, and it will respect me as such. Bow before me, tiny town! Don't play it like that.
I'm not sure. Hey, it's my dog Fuzzy. I'm not sure that, that was her when she was much smaller than she is now. I'm not sure that anybody plays like that. I wonder if that game was a demo. I'm still trying to figure it out. I do agree with Stella, you know, and Tarrant that really the funniest moments in games come from the people playing them and not the game itself, which is why I'm usually opposed to a game trying to be funny, trying to make the players funny, when the absolute, for sure, funniest moments from a game come from the players. See our Gloomhaven live game that I played with Mike this year. But hey, let's see what I found on the internet. Well, guess what? I got nothing for you all. But this is where I'm going to put out a plea for you all. It's the end of the year. I would like you to help me out. If you find different sites, podcasts, video things, not your own stuff, but other people's stuff, if you find interesting things on the internet, let me know about them. Now, this segment is not one I run every week. I'm going to be going back 30 years ago, which I ran out of games from 1990. But hopefully next week, I can start doing games from 1991, which will be a lot easier to do. Yeah, let me know what you find as time goes by, and email me at tom@dicetower.com with the different things that you find. Whatever it is, if it's anything to do with board gaming, I'd love to talk about it here on the show. That's it. I got more to talk about, though. We're going to keep going. Here's some more contributors.
Hi, I'm Ambi, and today I'm going to talk about Pencil Park, a city building roll and write game. In Pencil Park, you're building different types of buildings within your city, and you're trying to score within a certain range of points. Instead of going for a high score or a low score, you're trying to get an exact number and get within a range higher or lower than that in order to get on the podium of scoring. Each turn you roll 3 dice, and 2 of them you add up to determine what type of building you're building, and the other one you use to determine the shapes of the buildings that you're building. For example, if you roll a 2, then the buildings that you build will be in 2 different squares diagonal from each other because that's the shape of a 2 die. Each different building type scores differently. For example, the monuments score for each group of monument you have. So if you have a bunch of disconnected monuments, you get a high score, but if you have a bunch that are all connected together, that's just 1 scoring for that. And then factories score for the largest group, but then disconnected ones score negative points at the end. Throughout the game, it's fun to plan out which buildings you want and see what score you have, and then adjust your building strategy in order to raise or lower your score. Since the buildings score different ways, some of them can remove points by connecting up buildings, for example, so you can raise or lower your score depending on which buildings you have and where you're placing them. If you can't place a building on your turn, then you have to mark an X. And after 3 X's are marked, if you can't place a building, then the game ends. But if you can still place a building, you must. So it's really hard to get that perfect score at the end of the game, since you might have to place a building and change your score. There's 2 maps in the game, and there's also spaces that add special constraints in the advanced rules, such as 2 spaces that have to have the same building type, or multiple spaces that have to have different building types. So there's a good amount of variety in the maps available. Overall, Pencil Park is a fun city building roll and write with interesting scoring trying to get the exact score. Bye!
Hey folks, Anthony here from Dad Boards. You know, one of the crazy things about having a toddler in the house is you never know what mood they're going to be in at any given moment on any given day. So I can definitely relate to this game, Histrio, in which you're trying to put on a play for the very moody king. You never know if he's going to be in the mood for a funny play or a tragic play. So over the 2 seasons in this game, you're going to be sending your airships here to these different cities in order to recruit some actors and acrobats to join your troupe. Actors are either comedic or tragedian? Some of the actors are comedic and some are tragic. Some of the actors are comedians and others are tragedian. Some of the actors are comic and some are tragic. The acrobats give you special abilities, and the actors will let you influence the king or get points for putting on a play at the end of the season that matches the king's mood. So give me 5 here, folks. 5 reasons why I like the game Histrio. Reason number 1, co-designed by Bruno Cathala, one of my favorite designers. Reason number 2 is the theme. There's not a lot of games about theater. This one is very wacky in that it has these animals putting on these shows. It's silly and I like it. Reason number 3, I really enjoy that hidden travel part where you don't know where all the players are going to go. Reason number 4, the components in this game are fantastic. It's got a great toy factor, great presence on the table. You got your stage here. You can rotate depending on the king's mood, move the dial back and forth. Looks awesome. And finally, reason number 5, it's the little details that I really appreciate that make the theme kind of come out in this game. For example, here you got the turtle who will let you choose your destination after everybody else has. Why? Because he's slow. The chameleon can either be tragic or comedic because he can change what he looks like. The queen's going to give you 10 points for not pleasing the king. So that's interesting. We've got the royal advisor here, whispering in the king's ear. Wet nurse. Self-explanatory. Thanks for watching, folks. Take care and happy holidays.
Tragic. Trageric. Who cares? Okay, well, there you go. Let's talk about what's coming from the Dice Tower this week. Well, I'm reviewing quite a few games, like I said. All 4 of us will be taking a look at Vasel, Wingspan expansion, finally, the Oceanic expansion, Micro Macro, Gladius, Shifting Stones, Monstrosity. I'm also starting a new series with my 2 daughters who I play games with all year round, Ruby and Violet. You might have seen them do their top 10 list in the Winter Spectacular. And so they're going to be joining me to review games, and we'll be taking a look this week at Adventure Tactics, Domains Tower. And let's see, later on this week, Board Game Breakfast will be back. We're not going to be doing a crowd surfing because there's nothing on Kickstarter. And we will be taking a look on Thursday at at the People's Choice top 20 games from 2020. So what did you all vote for? Don't forget, of course, to vote in the People's Choice top 100 games of all time, because we want to talk about that in January. So all that stuff's coming in at 10 o'clock today. Z will be doing What's Happening, and I'll be doing that later on Wednesday too. I'll be on Rado's channel tomorrow where we're taking a look back at the year 2020 and just talking about various things. So lots of goodness, lots of things coming your way. Let's keep moving here.
Brandy, Dylan, we game together.
Can we play now?
Yes.
Hi guys, I am Randy.
And I'm Ellen, and we're We Game Together.
And today we're continuing our series of games that basically got us into the hobby, which is basically the games we bought the first year of being in the hobby.
Yeah, it's kind of morphed into that. So today,
November 13th of 2015, we bought Outbox.
Yes, our kids loved it then, and they continue to love it now. It's been a solid game in this house. for our like 8-year-old to now like almost 13-year-old.
I would easily recommend this to really anybody. In fact, anybody that asks me like, "Oh, I'm looking for a game for my kids, my younger kids, my 6, 7, 8, even like 4-year-olds, really, because you can easily walk them through it.
Just do their turns for them.
Because it's co-op. Well, yeah, right.
But
they can roll the dice.
Deduction game.
Everybody likes rolling dice.
Come on.
This one, it's a co-op deduction game. You're walking around trying to find clues. You put these clues in a little decoder to try to figure out if that suspect has them or not. And then you can eliminate suspects based off of whether it has it or not. So it's kind of process elimination. Yeah. Like I said, easily recommend this to anybody.
The tiniest luck factor is the dice chucking, but even then, when our kids get like a bum roll, they still love the game.
You can adjust the luck factor, like how many times you can roll bad stuff before like you're done.
Right.
But anyway, this one's fantastic. The next one we're talking about is
Forbidden Desert, which I hated then, and I also continue to hate. And I feel like hate's a strong word. Maybe I don't hate it.
You don't like co-op, and it's very Pandemic co-op. It's very similar to Pandemic and just kind of mechanics-wise. But I like this one because it has like some shifting sands and things. So the sand will like kind of build up, and it'll block off areas, and you have to like blow off the areas to get in there. And then the storm moves along. So where the storm goes, it like leaves extra dust around. This one, I think, is a great kind of mid-ish, lowish weight co-op game. So if you're just kind of getting into games...
Yeah. It's pretty affordable, too. I think it's around $15.
You can usually get this one for pretty cheap, like 20 and under.
Yeah.
And it's a solid game. I like this one.
In his opinion.
It's a step up from Forbidden Island, even. So if you're looking for something super intro, Forbidden Island, and then this is like the next step up. Kind of a progression. I like it. All right, guys, thank you for joining us, and we will see you on the next one.
Bye-bye.
Ma, I got my daughter here. Hello. Yeah, okay. And, again, we're gonna ask her why she doesn't want to play war games. Celia, why do you not want to play war games with your father?
Because it doesn't interest me.
Yeah, but your father, he wants to play with you.
You can do other things.
Well, how about playing a zombie game? Wanna play a zombie game?
No.
Tanks. It's always fun to be in tanks. Tank duel. Enemy in the crosshairs. GMT. You wanna play that, Cece? Why don't you wanna play that?
Because I don't want to.
That's not an answer! Okay, I know what you wanna play. Chad Jensen was a war gamer. But he also made Centerville! Welcome to Centerville! You wanna play Centerville? Look at her, she looks like you! Huh? You wanna play Centerville?
What is it about?
I got no time to explain that to you, but I have time to explain by Stealth and Sea! Huh? It's by David Thompson. And the Italian guy, what's his name? Nicola Sargini. Huh? Where, basically, you get on a torpedo, but it's a submarine torpedo, but you're outside! Look how cool that is, look! Look, isn't that cool, Cece? Isn't that cool? Don't you want to play that? Don't you want to be one of those guys? Why?
I don't want to.
So, Cece, what about Combat Commander? Huh? Don't you want to take care of your squad? It's your squad. You have to take care of them if you're playing this game.
I don't want to play the game.
Well, I want to play the game.
Isn't there a single version?
A single version? Can you tell she plays a lot of games? Because she wants to play a single version of the game. You mean solo? Enemies of Rome by Worthington Publishing. It's an easy game. You want to play it? Robin Hood. You want to play Robin Hood by Worthington Publishing?
No.
Why? It's Robin Hood. You could be Lady Marian. Don't you want to play 1759 The Siege of Quebec by Worthington Publishing? Huh? Learn about where you live.
Sure.
You want to play this?
Sure.
I don't want to play right now. What about Fearsome Floors? We had a lot of fun with Fearsome Floors. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I feel like I should change your prediction here that Dan is finally going off the deep end in 2020. But that would be a lie because it's already happened in 2020. Alrighty. So every year I do my predictions for the following year. And this is always basically a crapshoot. I don't know. Sometimes I have some insider knowledge a little bit, but I got nothing. And so I'm going to be looking at the comments. If someone has a good prediction, maybe I'll steal one of yours. But I got 10 here. And we'll see if they come true or not at the end of the year. It's fun to speculate about the future. It's fun to talk about what might happen or what will not happen. And people, I've never met so many people who speculate about the future as I do right now. What's 2021 going to be like? And it's this thing I keep telling people, like, you realize, so New Year's Eve is this Thursday. At midnight New Year's Eve, wherever it is in the world doesn't suddenly magically change. And I get that people look at as New Year as a way to wipe the slate clean and to move forward, hence New Year's resolutions, but we'll wait and see. All right. Here we go. We'll start off with a negative prediction here. So this week, you may have noticed there was the news that Fantasy Flight Games is shutting down their digital forums. So they have no more forums at the beginning of January, I think, or halfway through January. I'm going to predict that by the end of 2021, Fantasy Flight will either be just a name that's stamped on boxes, or at best a stagnant company. Now, again, I don't want people to think that all these predictions I'm hoping will happen. I would love to see Fantasy Flight swing around. But the fact that they just offloaded their two biggest miniature games, X-Wing and Armada, I'm sorry, not Armada, but the Legion, to another company, or Asmodee moved those around. They shut their forums down. They announced Descent 3rd Edition to not overwhelming hype, for sure. Yeah, I think they'll still be around. I don't think they're going to disappear completely, but they're already somewhat irrelevant and to the hobby, it seems. And their biggest thing was X-Wing, and they still have a lot of good things. Don't get me wrong. They're still Marvel champions and Arkham Horror, and then after that you start running in what else is there. We'll see how Descent 3rd Edition is. As a side note, I'll say Descent 3rd Edition, when it comes out, will have some raving fans, but will overall not be as exciting as people want it to be. But again, I would love if I was wrong on this. My number 2 prediction, I predict Dune Imperium and Dwellings of Eldervale will both hit the top 100 ranked board games on Board Game Geek. I almost want to say 50 for Imperium. I don't know if Eldervale will go that high. I suspect other games from 2020 will hit the top 100. Some already have. On Mars has, I believe, and I think there's another game that's hit the top 100. But I think these two in particular will do really well as time goes by. There's no clear, in my opinion, game of the year from 2020. You know, we did the Dice Tower Awards halfway through 2021 about the year 2020. I don't know that there's a front runner, although I think both the games I just mentioned are certainly in that mix. But there's no one overwhelming game of the year like in 2019, Wingspan. There is nothing like that in 2020, but I think both of these games will do very well. Alrighty, I do think, though, we're seeing Kickstarter just explode right now. And when I say Kickstarter here, keep in mind, I'm also talking about Indiegogo and GameFound mixed in this, but crowdfunding. I'm just saying Kickstarter for short. In fact, I wonder if I should have put in a thing about GameFound, but let's see where that goes. I'm really rooting for GameFound to do well. But I think that by the end of 2021, at this point when I check these, when I look at the top 10 ranked games on Board Game Geek from 2021, 6 or more will be Kickstarted. I think Kickstarter is that powerful in the industry right now that I think that more and more publishers will move to Kickstarter as the year goes by, and we're already seeing some of that happen. And so very popular games will likely be Kickstarted. I think that no Kickstarter, though, and this is just me guessing here, but that there will not be a Kickstarter in the year 2021 that will surpass the amount of funding that Frosthaven got at the beginning of 2020. Frosthaven, of course, was a humongous Kickstarter. In fact, I'm not sure. I'm going to say no Kickstarter will even hit the top 5 moneymakers of all time. Now, I could be wrong. A game could come out of nowhere. I don't know of any game on the horizon that's poised to be that huge. Of course, there could be another exploding kittens type thing happen, and then therefore my prediction would be wrong. But on the hobby side of things, I don't see it happening. I think there will be lots of big Kickstarters for sure, but I'm not sure we'll see one break Frosthaven. Number 5, I think 3 medium-sized companies will be absorbed or disappear. When I say medium-sized, think of when Stronghold was bought or merged with Indie Boards and Cards. So things like that. Now, we're already wondering if Tasty Minstrel's still around at this point in time. And there are other companies, I think, that are on the cusp of this. Part of this is obviously COVID and the changes in 2020. But I just think there will be some restructuring and reworking, and you'll see that happen to some companies. I don't even know that's necessarily a bad thing. It would be bad, obviously, if a company disappears, but for a company to be absorbed by another company isn't necessarily bad because there's always 10 new companies there to take its place. Number 6, I think legacy games are fading. So I'll say, at most, there will be one major legacy game that comes out in 2021. And I'm not even sure one will come out. But I'm not talking about some small dinky game from a company, and I'm definitely not talking about games that call themselves legacy but are not, and they're just literally campaign games. You can put part of the campaign in a box. That doesn't make it legacy. So it's not like legacy has been that huge anyway, but I think that the focus in the year 2021, that people are not necessarily in the mood. Like this is a legacy game here, Machikoro. That worked really well. But most legacy games are big, grandiose affairs. You got to get together for many days on end with people, and that isn't probably happening anytime soon. All right, number 7. I think solo gaming, though, will be huge in 2021. It already was pretty big in 2020. So I'm going to say a solo-only game. And you can only play it solo will hit the top 100 games on Board Game Geek. So I think that if maybe there already is one, which case I did not know, and I'm already right. But a game that you can only play solo will be popular enough to hit the top 100 on Board Game Geek. All right, so my last 3 predictions, let's talk about 2021 and the coronavirus. I have no idea what's going to happen with the virus. I have no idea what's going to go on with the convention season, but I got to make some predictions about it, right? So this is a tough one. So we already know that early cons in the year have been canceled. Dice Tower West, Dice Tower Cruise have been canceled. The stuff that's scheduled for May has not yet been canceled. So Gamma Trade Show has been put online. So the early stuff has been canceled or moved, which I think the moving is a bad idea from the conventions that move, because that's going to really make the second half of the year top heavy. Although there's people saying there will be no conventions in 2021 at all. I really hope those people are wrong, but we'll see. So I'm going to say what I think the first major convention. So I'm talking about the big conventions. That's not including Dice Tower Cons, because I can actually control the Dice Tower Con, although that'd be insane for me to make a Dice Tower Con happen just to prove a prediction right. But anyway, the major cons. I'm going to say the first major con is going to be the Spiel at Essen. I don't think it will be as big as it's been in previous years at all. There might be restrictions. We'll see. But that's what I think the first major one will be. I'm saying Gen Con may not happen. I hope Gen Con happens. If Gen Con happens, I'll probably go. But I just feel like the problem isn't that the time. It's the preparation. It's the preparation to the cons has to happen now. And that's where the problem lies. If I knew for sure that May and June and July and August would be okay to have cons in, that's great. But I don't know that 100%. So it's hard to prepare and to put money into something that you may lose it on. I'm also going to say digital cons. So digital cons in 2020 were a mixed bag. Me and Mr. Bonacor extremely disagree on this point, but I'm going to go with that. He's wrong. I'm going to say that the digital cons in 2021 will be not any better than they were in 2020, and in fact, at most parts, they're just not going to be that big of a deal. And if a con does have an in-person thing, some of them are going to likely run a digital con on the side, and it's going to be miserable failure for that digital con. I don't think the digital cons of 2020, with the exception of maybe the ones that BGG ran, have been a great success at all. They tried. They gave it the old college heave-ho, but I don't believe they were that strong, and I believe that once we can get back to better together in person, digital cons just won't exist in the way that they want them to exist. I think digital events can happen. Having a digital event like we do, the Winter Spectacular, like we just did, that's a digital event, but it's not a con. That's very different than a convention. So I feel like that's what's going to happen there. And my last prediction, I don't care, folks. I'm a hopeful man, so I'm going to say 2021 will be the year of hope. I hope it's better. I keep telling people don't expect things to magically be better midnight Thursday. But I do think things will get better. I said this when I look back at 2020, and I don't minimize anyone's loss of job, loss of relatives, loss of friends. I do not mean to minimize that at all. There's a year of hardship, and bad things happen to many people. But I think a lot of good things happened in 2020. And I think that the board gaming hobby as a whole came out of 2020 a lot better than people expected. Maybe not parts of the hobby. And parts of the hobby, like local game stores, distribution, and conventions, have changed possibly forever. We're definitely seeing a paradigm shift. We're seeing it in movies. We're seeing it in other things. But I think overall, we're seeing a lot of good things with board gaming. We're still staying connected with one another. I think it's fantastic that I'm able to communicate with you all. I'm here live talking to everybody. I don't know if there will be any conventions in 2021, but I have hope. I don't know that there will be fantastic new games in 2021, but I have hope. I don't know if you and I will have a chance to see each other in 2021, but I have hope. I don't know about tomorrow. I just live from day to day. I look forward to the future and hopeful for it. And so while some of my predictions here were negative and I just try to guess about things that are going to happen, I hope that things are better. Someone put here in the comments, no expectations equals no disappointment. That I disagree with because I like having expectations. Even if I am disappointed, that hope, that something to look forward to is something I enjoy. And so my final prediction is simply that I think 2021 will be a better year. Let's keep moving.
Hey there everyone, it's Jen, the board game librarian, flipping some pages and pushing some cubes with my segment From the Page to the Table, and once again I'm joined by the dashing and adorable Matt, my husband, to do a combined segment again. I'm drawing on his knowledge of some of the books that he has read, and he's going to show off.
The book this week is called Chancellorsville by Stephen Sears. Chancellorsville is a pivotal battle in the American Civil War. It is right before the Battle of Gettysburg, which many people know more about. But Chancellorsville kind of heightened Robert E. Lee's stardom in the Confederate States. Basically, this was his greatest battle that he ever planned.
So we're going to pair that with the one that we received from Worthington Games, and that is Chancellorsville 1863. So this is a two-player...
or solo. It has a solo mode.
Or solo war game, block style war game, where you are moving along and you have a certain number of cards. But the best part is there's some hidden movement, which if you know anything about the Battle of Chancellorsville, there was some
surprise
attacks that went on. I love that in Chancellorsville, when every time you choose to move your unit, you have to fatigue them by moving them down, and the more you move them down, the more likely you are to obliterate your unit and cause your opponent more closer to victory. Matt has played this more than I have, but every game that we have played I think has been pretty tense. I've tried a couple of different strategies. Happy breakfast!
Bye everybody.
Hey folks, today I'm taking a look here at a video game that I got here called Immortals Fenyx Rising. So I didn't know much about this game. I saw a trailer for it and I thought, that looks fun. I really like Greek mythology. I've always enjoyed it. It's irritated me that so many movies about the Trojan War take the mythology part out of it. But anyhow, so this looked a lot of fun. So I got it and I played it a lot. A lot. I have not yet beaten the game. I feel like it's a safe bet to say I will finish the whole game because this one is a huge win for me. So if you play this, the minute you start playing this and as you go through the introductions and all the different things, you will say, this is very similar to Breath of the Wild. Yes, it is. It is clearly a copy of Breath of the Wild in many regards. It's I have not played many Ubisoft games other than this one, so people are comparing it to the other games. I don't have that comparison to make. But very similar to Breath of the Wild, and lots of different things going on in it. You know, you jump, you climb, you have fatigue, the way you fight enemies and things like that. But there's also a lot of differences between the two games, and I don't really care if the two games are similar because I would play Breath of the Wild 2 if it came out. So that's what this feels like to me. There's a whole backstory, Greek mythology, with a lot of humor in it, and actually I found the humor to be very entertaining and enjoyable. But I'm going to say that after playing it now, and unfortunately these games keep track of how long you play them, so this one I put in 30 plus hours already into the game. But I like it better than Breath of the Wild. I know it's anathema because Zelda's high up there, but I'll tell you why. Here's the differences in what I like about it. First of all, I love the theming of it. Like I said, Greek mythology. I love fighting minotaurs and, you know, I like fighting the Hydra and things like that. That's cool, and it's just neat. And the world itself is split into very distinct sections that feel very different. In Breath of the Wild, you go around and, you know, after a while, most stuff looks the same. Yes, they have the snow area, and they have the desert area in Breath of the Wild, and they have the stuff in between. But here, everything just felt unique. And like I said, I'm a big fan of Greek mythology. The fact there's these huge Greek statues and temples all over the place just has this really, I don't know, you feel awe-inspired, right? Like you'll get there and be like, wow. Like in Breath of the Wild, there's one part where you climb up this mountain to find this statue on this mountain somewhere. And that's neat. There's also these dragons that float around in the background in Breath of the Wild. That's also really neat. That's stuff that gives you this awe, like you are a small person in this world. But Fenyx does that for the entire game. So that's one thing I like better. Two, combined with that world exploration, going around and finding stuff I enjoyed even more. Yes, there's a lot of the same. Move this puzzle around, slide this stuff around, move this block here. There's a lot of that same stuff. But I like the fact that my two biggest negatives about Breath of the Wild was the one that, you know, everything was kind of samey. But two, I did not like the weapons at all. The weapons broke, and they were also not that different. You would find this cool fire sword, but eventually it was going to break and go away. So you never used it until you needed to use it. Or, you know, you go all the way in the mountains somewhere, and you might find another fire sword. Here, everything is really unique, and it's scattered all over the place. So I'll find something and be like, wow, this weapon is really different. This one, they're not uber different, and you'll find, like, axes, for example, and you're like, this is the kind I like to use, and this. And also there's a power-up system and a leveling up system in Fenyx that I find to be very enjoyable. But the exploration feels very fulfilling. I'm constantly going around and doing stuff because I don't know what I'll find next, and I find that to be pretty neat. The fighting and combat is super fun for me. I'll fight sometimes 10 enemies at the same time. You can do all kinds of cool maneuvering. I'm not really good at fighting games. But I feel like I'm awesome in this game. And some people might say it's too easy in that regard. I don't care. I have a blast, jumping and gliding and shooting arrows and all sorts of things. And the arrow shooting in this game to me is probably my favorite part of it. So I've been having a blast. I think it's a fun game to play. A couple of my kids will sit and watch me play it because they enjoy watching me do it. And they yell at me when I miss chests and puzzle obvious solutions. So that's good to have a backseat players. But this one has been really fun for me. I highly recommend it, especially if you like Breath of the Wild.
everybody.
Hello, we are Ryan and Bethany.
From Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we are talking about Pandemic, Hot Zone, North America. This is a smaller, condensed version of the very popular cooperative game, Pandemic. It all takes place in North America. There's only 3 diseases that you're worrying about. There's these crisis cards that you can add in to ramp up the difficulty. Other kind of like negative events that happen to you. I really enjoyed those quite a bit. But yeah, this is a smaller table size, smaller in difficulty, and smaller footprint, smaller budget-wise.
I was really impressed that they were able to take Pandemic and put it into a smaller version like that. I thought they did a really good job of giving you all the same feels and all the same stressors that you normally get in Pandemic, and they made it all happen in this little game.
All right, so here's the thing. We love Pandemic. We've played like basically every version of Pandemic that we can get our hands on. The legacies, the kind of offshoots, one-offs, Fall of Rome and Cthulhu and all those different ones. So what it really, to me, if you're not constrained by either the budget or the table space or the time constraints, is this better than, would I rather play this than any of them? The answer is no. All of those I'd rather play before I played this one, especially just the main Pandemic. It's fantastic the way it is. This gives you all really good things, but the big one's just better in every way.
So it's kind of like you got a slice of pizza and the pizza was like really good and it was great. It's just you only had one slice.
I'm a 2 slice of pizza kind of guy.
Yeah.
And this is 1 slice of pizza.
Yeah, it was great.
Lots of good stuff in here.
It tasted great. You just wanted more of the pizza. Well, thank you so much for watching, everybody. If you want to find out more from us, we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews. Everybody, this is Ryan and Bethany. Hoping you have a happy, healthy breakfast.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Now I want pizza. All right, folks. Well, that is that for today on a Board Game Breakfast. But hey, don't leave. In 18 minutes, Z will be jumping on live for What's Happening. So head on over there and see him. We got reviews. We got things coming your way. As the weeks go by, you'll notice last week we posted a lot of our top 10s from the Winter Spectacular. We'll be posting other things from the Winter Spectacular as the weeks go by, pulling out different sections and posting them. So I hope that you enjoy that. I can't wait to see what the future holds. Happy New Year to everybody. The fewest fireworks I've ever shot. And then I'll be back here to talk to you all some more at noon for a live Q&A. I'll see you then. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast live on the Dice Tower.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production.